bada bing. I'm at the Salt Lake City airport and waiting for next transfer, heading further up north, even further up north. And we have to stay here for about 3 hours. So still a long ride. But you can see that the landscape's changed. I don't think you can see this, but you have the mountains and you have snow on the top of the mountains, and it's not the desert anymore, it's actually green and grass, and I even have a sweater on me. You can actually breathe. And there's an interesting concept about being outside during daylight hours without dying of a scorching sun. I think that's a cool thing. Stay strong. Bam! The Primal Swede, directly from Idaho Falls in Idaho Falls. So we have one more transit. We're doing a transit now, so we're gonna be here until like 5 p.m. and then we're heading to Butte, and from Butte we're taking another bus to Billings, Montana. So soon enough we're in Billings, Montana. The big thing is that it's 2:45 in the afternoon and I'm walking in the sun and I'm not dying from, I'm not boiling. There's no furnace going on. It's not relentless heat. It's not like being inside an oven. It's really weird. So it reminds me of how life can actually be like. And it was kind of tough in the desert, when you, like in hindsight. So now I'm gonna find something to eat, that's daddy. So I'm just walking around here. Try to avoid like the fast food. I had like corn dogs and shit at that gas station. I had my limit. No bastard corn dog for me, at least something. See my stay strong. Primal Swede, directly from Idaho Falls, Idaho. And I just wanted to share something really briefly about the last few days. At this very moment, I'm at this gas station / bus stop for the Salt Lake Express. And soon me and my mate here, we're going to take a bus to Butte, Montana, and then in Butte, Montana, we do one last transfer to Billings, Montana. And in Billings, Montana, I can begin phase 2 on this epic bikepacking across America adventure. But there are still plenty of hours left to that actual occasion. And then from Billings all the way to New York, that is about 2,200 miles, so 3,700 kilometers. I'm sure it should be more, because I did just a quick Google Map search and they gave me that route, right? But it should be a bit more, I think, maybe 4,000 plus something. Anyhow, what I wanted to sort of share today, what I kind of feel like is sort of important, sort of value, is something about taking or making decisions, like important decisions. So these last few days, I was crossing the Mojave Desert, and I left LA, went to San Bernardino, crossed the mountains, went into the desert, and started to bike in order to go my original itinerary, right? So I'm biking, and I feel that the sun is scorching my back hour after hour after hour, and I drink like enormous amount. I have 7 bottles, like 7 big bottles of water on my bike. I'm using all of them, like constantly drinking. And I even brought extra electrolytes. I use electrolytes as well, so I can get those minerals and salts back into my system. But it's not enough. I'm still constantly thirsty. And I feel the further I go, the more depleted I feel. And when I followed this Route 66, I reached a place called Amboy. So Amboy, it's famous along Route 66 because they got this big neon site. It's in the sign. It's in the middle of nowhere. They have like a cafe and a motel. So now they still have the neon sign, and they have like a cafe, small gas station, but most of it has disappeared. So it turned into a ghost town, most of this place. So the next settlement from Amboy, further ahead, it's about 70 kilometers. So that should be maybe 50 miles, 45 miles or something. So I reached this place and I feel utterly, totally depleted and fatigued and exhausted. I'm like done. And I keep drinking all of this water and electrolytes. I go into the bar and I think, what the hell should I do now? And I haven't eaten properly. From LA all the way to this place, that is about 450 kilometers. And I have like this, I think it should be a pretty intense calorie deficit. So imagine if I burn like 1,800 calories a day, that's my basic metabolic rate. And then with activity stuff, maybe that's 2,500 calories. But with the biking, maybe it increases up to like 5, maybe 6,000 plus calories. And I hadn't eaten nowhere near those amount of calories. Nowhere near. So big calorie deficit. Pretty bad sleep. The night before I slept on a camping site in a tent. I pinched my inflatable mattress. So I slept basically on the ground. And then I was biking then and drinking and losing all of these salts. So I'm at this gas station and I think, what the hell should I do now? And here's the thing, there are 2 options. Right now I took a decision to leave the original plan. I met this other cyclist also in New York, MJ, from Korea. So we decided to hook up a bit and help each other and go to Montana. So that is the direction I chose. But what if I hadn't chosen that? What if I had chosen to stay put, to continue my journey, push to Bullet City, push to Kingman, push so I would cross the deserts, push so I would go to Colorado. So that total distance that I would have done if I didn't change plans would have been about, so top of my mind, I think it's about 1,000 kilometers. So at least 1,000 kilometers. So say that's 5 days biking. 5 days biking, maybe 6, maybe even 7. With the intense heat, lack of supplies, long distance between gas stations. It will take time. It is difficult to do 200 kilometers a day. It's seriously difficult to do 200 kilometers a day. What I was thinking about doing is to bike throughout the night. But if I bike throughout the night, I need to rest at some point during the day, right? So, okay, say if I would have started at 8 p.m. and I bike throughout the night and I bike and it's going pretty well. And I arrive somewhere at 8 in the morning, stop, I take a break, then I need to rest. But how do you rest when daytime is 45 degrees Celsius? Just utterly difficult. Like you wouldn't get any rest. You wouldn't get any recovery. And the rest of that trip, it's still, far between gas stations. It's still far between being able to resupply and getting water as well. Food and water. And shade. And sleep. So now, I took the decision to leave for Montana, but I think maybe the difficult part of this is the ID, the fact that you have to abandon your ID, right? So you have settled on an ID, like you're going to do this thing. You're going to do a coast-to-coast bikepacking adventure. So that is what you have in mind. That is your goal. The difficult part, the tricky part, is to actually leave that goal, to abandon it, to make another decision, to go another direction. But I think it's a wise call, right? Because you end up into this gray zone. Like, I couldn't have pushed more. I'm certain I would have been able to do a few more days. But that gray zone, like that gray mass, the deeper down you get into this gray zone, the more difficult it is to actually make a decision that makes sense, because you're more fatigued, you're more depleted, you're more tired. It's difficult to think. It's more difficult to make any like real, reasonable decisions and so on. So it takes time. So I just wanted to share that. I hope that makes sense. That sometimes maybe, you know, you have like a parallel thing going on with work or business or other goals in life, and you have this idea that it should be like this, and you're working for it, you're struggling, you have lots of grit, but you're not achieving the results you desire. Maybe it takes like guts and boldness to actually make a decision for another direction and leave that behind. You know, that's the gray zone. That's it. Just want to share that piece. And now I'm gonna rest in the shade, wait for the bus, and then to Butte, and then to Billings, Montana, and then it's phase 2 of this adventure. Stay strong.